Ah, my favorite YouTube philosopher. Oh! Oh, I turned on the camera. Coming at you live from the bulletproof bunker just outside Celestia's castle. It's Equestria Redacted, and I am your host, Ephrom Josine. You see, I was a little bummed out about how last week's episode wasn't really as good as it should be. So I am going to make a proper episode 21 that will cover what I should have covered last week. For instance, did you guys hear next year is going to be the last BronyCon? And for that matter, apparently an MLP staff writer was convicted of having child pornography. That actually makes a lot of sense. But that's not what you wanted to hear. You maybe, for instance, wanted to hear about the new episodes that I didn't cover last time. Well, here's one of the new episodes. There were two. The first one is A Matter of Principle. But let's look at some of this. Okay, so first thing I should note is there was apparently an episode in between this and another one called Yakety Sax. I swear, that better not have. But it aired when the show was out, essentially. So I don't know what happened with that. If someone could fill me in the comments, that would be amazing. Essentially, in A Matter of Principles, Twilight has to go on this friendship quest. And it turns out that, well, she's running the school. They're even doing like a scavenger hunt thing. And all 6 of her friends need to go. So, someone has to take over. And that person is Starlight Glimmer, or Pony, or Creature. Okay, listen. It doesn't make much sense. However, it gets a little bit more interesting as it turns out Discord shows up. And I just love Discord. He's not as good as he was in Breakup Breakdown, though. In fact, honestly, I'm ranking this episode a little lower than Breakup Breakdown, if only due to the plot. You see, what happens is Discord creates havoc because he's Discord. And essentially, most of the episode is Discord going, look at how wacky I am. And then Starlight going, Discord, stop being wacky. I'm the establishment and I don't want you to have fun. And then Discord is like, well, you're the establishment and you don't want me to have fun. Plus, you're doing a bad job. And this chair is very loud. I just realized that. Chair, why are you so loud? Answer me that, Chair. Now you don't want to talk. I see how it is. I mean, Discord's chaos is funny, don't get me wrong, but it's just, we've seen it before. That's what he is. He's a Draconicus. We have literally seen the lack of chaos kill him, or almost kill him. He didn't quite die. I don't know. I just feel like he has to be reserved more to his side character from there on out. But overall, it's still an okay episode. Don't get me wrong. Okay, but the other episode, the one that came next, is the Hearths Warming Club. Not Hearts Warming, Hearths Warming. What the heck even is a hearth anyway? I'm going to look that up right now. Because it's not... Heartwarming would make sense. Apparently it's hearth warming, and I've been saying heart the entire time. Hearth. The floor of a fireplace. So hearth warming basically just means using your fireplace correctly. But okay. Here is my opinion, because at first I was kind of skeptical since it came out in August, but is a Christmas special. However, I was actually pleasantly surprised. It actually has all 6 of I call them the new main 6, but really they are just the kids. I have to say I have grown a hatred for Gallus, Like, you can do sarcastic characters correctly, but just having them say the opposite of what they mean is, come over here, come over here. Pretty lazy. I get Gallus is a griffin, and half the personality of griffins these days is that they are very, very mean, but still. But okay, so what happens? You see, all of the people at the school are gonna go home, because I guess it's a boarding school, and celebrate their holidays. Normally it's heartwarming. However, um, it turns out someone tried to destroy Heartswarming. I will dub them the Creature of Shadows. Not the Pony of Shadows, the Creature of Shadows. By destroying the Heartswarming fire. It makes sense in context. So it turns out it's one of the 6 kids. Who could it be? Ooh. But during that, they all get antagonized, essentially, by Twilight. Or, it's antagonized? No, antagonized isn't really the right word. Twilight tries to figure out who did it, basically, by interviewing the kids one-on-one. And we don't actually see what happens in their interviews, which I don't know how I feel about, honestly. I kind of feel like it was a lazy move, because none of them confessed in their interviews, for the record. Although when the person who did do it reveals who it is, Twilight goes back and is like, I'm glad you told the truth. He lied to you like twice. Or he or she lied to you like twice about it. But he told the truth that final time, so I guess that's all that matters. They also mention honesty is one of the is one of the elements of harmony, which is odd because the element of harmony, the element of honesty, isn't actually in this episode. The element of loyalty is, though, but she does basically nothing. I genuinely don't get why they had Rainbow Dash there. She's not even all that funny in the episode. It legitimately just feels like they wanted to drag and drop her in there, probably to fill some quota. Dang these affirmative action measures. Making unicorns appear all the time in My Little Pony. Although it is actually kind of cool to hear about all the other creatures' holiday, I absolutely love the bit about Ocellus. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce it. Ocellus? I think that's how it's pronounced. Because she's a changeling who just found out about heartwarming last year. And so the way they see it, they take everything literally, and I absolutely thought it was amazing. Their song, Twilight Says You Can Sing Carols, they literally just sing the word carol over and over again. I actually thought that was hilarious. Actually, the way the holidays are celebrated in general are typically pretty funny. The best joke, of course, involves Sandbar, and I won't dare ruin that one for you. His stories are amazing. I also absolutely thought the story with the yak. Yana, just her holiday, they just smash stuff, most of it. But then it actually turns out to have a really heartwarming bit, or hearth-warming bit, and I love it. Silverstream being excited isn't funny, by the way. Honestly, this is a really good Christmas special. And I actually, at first I was going to put it just above School Date, but this may actually be up there with Mod Couple and Fake It Till You Make It. Purely due to just how funny it is to see the creatures. I'd say I'd put it between Fake It Till You Make It and Horseplay. It is currently my number 3 episode this season. And it's actually kind of a shame I was going to skip this one, because it was a Christmas special. I'll definitely be watching it this Christmas, I'll tell you that. Yeah, it was... Okay. Now let's get into the news stuff. One thing I forgot to mention in the proper episode 21 is FNGR, That Creeping Reading, Lightning Bliss, Aeon of Dreams, and Golden Fox are currently doing videos on web safety. I'd like to remind you, 80% of them, basically all but That Creepy Reading, were friends with Zachary, The person who was pathetically obvious to being a sexual predator, and none of them figured out it was a sexual predator, despite the fact that it was very obvious to figure out. But, okay, that's not what you want to hear about. I know what you want to hear about. You want to hear about that kid Douglas, don't you? Yeah, he has his Vita video up now. It's like 4 minutes shorter, though. I wonder what he cut out in those 4 minutes. But I'm not looking at the full thing tonight. We'll just do what we did the last couple times. We'll watch how's 10 minutes sound. You know what? I'll up it to 15. 15 minutes of that kid Douglas, and we'll determine together whether or not he's good. Although, Blue Flare actually recently asked that kid Douglas, would you do a video on Ephrom Josine, aka Orchard's White Knight, and the Alex Jones of the Brody community? I like when people do comparisons, because it means they don't have to come up with an argument. Oh, why, he's the Pat Robertson of the vegan community. I just came up with, like, random words. That's probably, someone has probably been called that before. With Cobalt Scout 56 saying, "You're seriously concerned about a rambling, basement-dwelling conspiracy theorist?" I'd like to say I am proudly that. But here's the thing, by the way. I debunk conspiracies, like basically all of them around Lily Orchard, so just saying. Now, Douglas starts the video by making it clear that he is exposing Vita. They're getting exposed up in this place. Because of course he is, because he's that kid Douglas. By the way, what was your video on Lily then? Because that's basically what it was. Just an attempt at exposing both of them, for the record. His first complaint is that Vita doxed someone. That person was Digibro, who, in the post, Vita also said was a pedophile, so forgive me if I don't really care. But for that matter, that kid Douglas, here is my question for you. If you don't like doxing people, that's all fine and good. But it should be noted that your source page contains a link to that exact post, which I could click on and still find Digi's dox, so you still doxed him. You still, that wasn't even hard to find. I'm not going to link this for the record because I am typically against doxing people, unless they are actively committing crimes and endangering others. Which, there is actually some evidence Digibro could have done, for the record. It should also be noted Douglas calls it Digi's former address, meaning we currently do not know who lives there, and whether or not Digi even lived there back when this post was made. But who needs context? Although, he addresses it by saying, well, nobody informed him of that. Therefore, how is anyone supposed to know? So, if I say that kid Douglas lives on Venus, it is the exact same as me giving out his real address, apparently. But then he says that wouldn't even make it any better, so I don't even know at this point. I just feel lied to. Look, I'm just gonna be honest. I can't stand Douglas. I really can't. He just drags everything out as long as possible, by the way. We are currently over 4.5 minutes into the video. Almost 5. And this is his first point. And then Douglas addresses the claim that Vito doxed Lightning Bliss, and by that I mean he believes it, despite the fact that the name Vita got that he used to give the information was given to him through Lightning Bliss. You seem to ignore that. No, he doesn't ignore that. He shows it and then pretends it didn't happen. He also doesn't debunk it, he just complains Vita makes a point. Oh. And then, because Douglas still doesn't understand anything, he complains about Vita leaking art assets, which he did do. And you can find in the description of that kid Douglas's video. Again, if you're so against these things, why do you keep engaging in them? I honestly don't believe that kid Douglas is against most of what he's complaining Vita is doing, and is just trying to find reasons to hate Vita. That's the only reason I can think of, at least, as to why someone would be actively engaging in it. You just as badly doxed Digibro as did Vita. You just as badly released art assets as did Vita by taking part in this. I mean, he's so against it, he downloaded it onto his hard drive. Am I the only one who sees the problem here? My God, this man just... I can't stand Douglas anymore. I'm Ephrom, and good night.